And you were saying, what year did you start coming up to the Adirondacks? How old were you?
I think I was 2 until I was about 10 or 12, one of those ages, and we went up to Calumet in the Adirondacks. It was one of the Adirondack camps owned by my grandfather and his sister and brother. And that's as far as we know.
Your grandfather's name?
My grandfather's name was Edgar Hellman, and we called him Umps, and he was Grandy's husband. And we had wonderful times up at Calumet. That was just fabulous. And we remember it pretty vividly. Barbara remembers it a little better. She was 2.5 years older. But we went canoeing, and we learned to swim at a very early age, and we went on picnics, and we had oh gosh, I don't remember his name. We had one employee, we had a lot of employees, but one was the guy who drove the boat and was the chauffeur as well, and probably did other things. But we had a beautiful Chris Craft, which are those beautiful old wood boats. We had a Chris Craft, and we did aquaplaning. I can remember aquaplaning. And we had a really good time. My cousins, Cynthia and Ginny Goldmark came. They were kind of my age, well, Ginny was. And Adrienne de Chatelot was Barbara's age. And then we had 2 boy cousins, Donald and Kenny Borg, who were older than we were. And they were up there. And lots of aunts and uncles and cousins and people. It was a pretty big place with different buildings.
What lake was it this on?
It's on Upper Saranac Lake.
And what was the name of the camp? It was Calumet.
Calumet.
Was just that camp.
That camp was Calumet, yeah. And there was an Indian, a real Indian, who had a teepee over near a gas station, and we would walk to there, and you may have it down, but I can't remember the name of it. Barbara told me, but anyway, and I would always get a Coke, and she would always get orange soda or Fanta or whatever it was. And then we'd go to the Indian, and he had sweetgrass baskets and all kinds of Indian things, that they made. I remember the baskets particularly, but they probably had a lot of other stuff. And in later years, he didn't have his teepee anymore. He came by boat around to all the different camps around the lake, and so you'd go down to the dock. Another thing, there was a mail boat, and the mail boat brought your mail in a leather bag, and you'd go to the end of the dock and get the leather bag from the mailman and give him the outgoing one. So there were 2, and that was fun. And at some time we went around the lake on the mail boat. That was a lot of fun to do. And what else can I tell you? There was a tennis court. There was a wood house. There was an ice house.
Wow. How long were you up there in the summer? Did you spend the whole summer?
Well, that's up for discussion. I thought it was 1 month. Barbara thinks it's 2, and she may be right. I don't know. We can't. We'll never know. Everybody's gone. But we were up. We had a wonderful time. And when I was 5, and we were taking the train to go home, and they had a cinder. It isn't a platform, cinder along the tracks, and we were running for the train. In those days, all the trains were really full because you couldn't drive, so we were running to get a seat on the train, and I fell and got cinders in my knee, and my knee was all bloody and awful all the way back. And I can remember going to the doctor, and he tried to scrape out the cinders, and it was, I can remember to this day how awful it was, and I still have cinders in my knee from that experience. What else can I tell you about Calumet? It was so much fun. What did we do?
Were there lots of kids? You mentioned there were a few other.
Well,
so it was.
Oh, I guess the Hellman kids. I guess so.
Yeah.
Teddy and Tommy were up there because Jean and Ted. And there was a children's house that we were up at the top of the hill in the children's house, and we usually had a mother's helper or somebody to take care of us there. Each family, I guess, did. And I got sick once and had whatever I had. I guess I had a fever. I was put in the back room by myself so no one else would get sick. And I told Mom I had seen a mouse, and she thought I was hallucinating. But then she saw the mouse too, and she said, "Oh my gosh, you're right. You would crawl right over my bed." Yeah. Yeah, that's We had such good times up there. That's why we're still go to the lakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we know.
We love the lakes, and you love the lakes. So, well, everyone associated with the Stein Green family is a lake person now. We've even gotten our Bio and Scott to like lakes. And Liz, I think, was already there.